Greetings. I love this thing in the scientific community called the Fermi paradox. It's basically why haven't any other intelligent life forms out in the universe contacted us? Surely there are some. We've sent some probes out and we've been listening and nothing so far, right? What's going on? What gives? And we haven't, not only that, our telescopes, we haven't even seen. We haven't like looked out there and looked at some stars and then been able to kind of zoom in later on some local planets of that star and then maybe seen something orbiting around the planet. Oh my God, what the heck is going on? It doesn't look like a moon. That looks like a space base or something. But anyway, we haven't seen anything. Fermi paradox. But what if we're just not listening or paying attention? There's everything that's on this planet, basically. I mean, not everything. Well, yeah, it's all from space. We are in space. Like, right? Stars exploding makes the hydrogen and the helium. That's all these atoms, all the atoms that are here, basically are from exploding stars once upon a time. And so cosmic dust, water on space, crashes on the planet. All the water on this planet, well, it's all from space. So anyway, what if the aliens are here? we just don't know. We're just not like able to listen or communicate. Viruses have some strange aspects to them. They can unzip our DNA and remix DNA. They help beings to change in ways that help them survive more. So this that is kind of crazy, all right? And I don't know, just check out some creatures on this planet, like especially deep sea, right? They are definitely in a different zone on this planet. They're not extraterrestrial, okay, granted. But what are they? Where are they from? Where's all this, material here, including some of these life forms that have evolved here? What's that tardigrade thing, right? That's kind of interesting. There's just certain, I don't know. I think if we just start paying attention and just have less of an anthropomorphic kind of viewpoint. We have a viewpoint, we're very focused on ourselves. Gosh darn it, it's just the way it is. And when we picture aliens, we picture them as having 2 legs and 2 arms and stuff, like basically bipedal adult humans. It's kind of what we picture, but with big eyes or something, a lizard nose or something. That's basically like a hybrid of some kind, right? So it's anthropomorphic. We're not actually really looking or thinking in terms of what might be a life form out there, and what we're also not really open to what consciousness really is, and what kinds of things around us have consciousness, are part of some sort of unity consciousness or something like that. We're just not really there yet, right? So we might be missing something that's already here. Oh my goodness. I believe there are some, definitely the UAV thing. There's some strange vehicles out there. I know this from firsthand experience. I had 3 generations of my family in the van, including conservative, not one given to wanting to admit that there's UFOs. But anyway, we all saw something over the Pacific. What I can't say now is if those 3 ships that we saw using gravitational force to move and not Bernoulli's principle. How we fly our planes, we get the pressure under the wings to lift us. P1, pressure under the wings, is greater than P2, the pressure from gravity pulling us down to the planet. So we're lifting and we're flying because we're pulling with propulsion and creating this pressure underneath the wings that holds us aloft. Well, that's Bernoulli's principle. That's one way of flying. And when you're watching all these planes flying in a straight line, it's just got this, it's a jet engine, and it's just, you see it just soaring, heading from south to north, and it's got a green light and a blue light, red light up front, a white light up front, and it's just soaring along. Well, that's one kind of movement. Your brain recognizes it. It's totally familiar. It's not unusual. Nothing crazy, nothing to see. You're seeing all these things in the sky moving that way. Okay, now add to that drones. Drones have 4 propellers, and they can go vertical ascent as if they're just opposing the gravity of the planet. It almost kind of looks like that, if you didn't really know, if you hadn't seen the propellers. So it's creating this vertical lift, sort of how a helicopter does, but just more efficiently. It's this distributed quadcopter kind of design. So yeah, there's those in our skies now. I've seen some here in Oakland. I got followed by a couple when I was a skateboarder back in the day, and just weird, they're there. They do not use Bernoulli's principle to fly. In other words, they're using a propeller lift. Okay. But still, your brain is familiar with that now. You're like, okay, all right, that looks weird. The way that thing is flying, it's kind of just cruising along. It's not really flying like a plane would fly. So, but your brain, now we recognize that. So, but anyway, this thing that my mom, my dad, my grandfather, my sister, and I saw on the 405 freeway in California was something else. The whole freeway saw it. The whole 405 freeway, like it all kind of, everybody kind of slowed down to a stop because there was these 3 craft out over the Pacific. And they were just kind of hovering there. They really literally were just there. Just like 3 lights, And you could vaguely make out some kind of shape, like a triangular kind of shape. And these lights. But then the way they moved, that's what was bizarre. So they were just there, not flying, not moving, just there. 3 objects in a formation. And then in the blink of an eye, dunk, 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 they went way high in the sky. They were like, dunk, dunk, same formation. And then another blink of the eye, they were like, dunk, dunk, they were like way out over the horizon, dunk, just like, whoa, way out over the Pacific. And then like, dunk, dunk, they came back to where they were. And we were all just, everybody was just dumbfounded. We were all just like, we looked at my grandfather. It was my mom's dad, grandfather James. And we looked at him and just waiting for him to, see what he would say. And he said, that was something. That was all he said. That was something. Yeah. So, but it was his kind of way of saying that it was okay for us to talk about UFOs. No. Especially with that. What I'm thinking today is, was that one of ours? It's really not that impressive. If you can master some kind of formula to oppose the gravity of the planet that you're on, the planet that you live on, I don't think that's any bad thing, right? Like, I think that's, I saw something kind of weird. I thought that was car theft about to happen. So glad it's not. All right. I'm going to quit talking about this thing, but this alien thing, we saw these 3 ships over the 405. And, I'm saying that the way they moved was amazing beyond anything we knew at that time. But one of ours, I don't know. It's weird. I'm thinking, are possibly extraterrestrial. But then if it's extraterrestrial, okay, you're thinking maybe, are those drones? Are those, in other words, this sort of alien probes, sent out by some other civilization somewhere? It's always really advanced, and these things are moving really cool, doing their thing, and they're getting tons of data because they're right there by the freeway, They're just like, what is this? They saw some lights on the edge of the continent, and that's the place to be, Los Angeles, right? You're going to check out the humans if you're just flying in over the Pacific, I think that I could see that kind of. And you're like, oh, you see this like lit up continent and this really dense area of lights along the one edge of that continent. So you fly over there to have a look, and you end up in a really densely populated area with a band of moving vehicles right through it and right on the edge of it. That makes sense. If I was an alien observer drone, I'd pull up right next to the freeway too and start collecting the data. But, whatever. Who knows? I will never know. My sister knows this too. There's another human on Earth still who saw this same event, remembers. There's lots of humans that were on the 405. I just don't know who any of them are. But I heard some about it on the radio. So I got back. I used to surf a lot of radio. I loved it. Dr. Demento in Los Angeles was awesome. KLOS, just rock and roll, and just lots of great FM, FM. But yeah, so like FM radio was heavy duty, cool. So lots of late night DJs. It could just be free form and good times. And AM also then FM sort of became mainstream, and then AM got weird. And it was cool. There was lots of cool AM shows. Lots of weird right wing stuff too, right? It was all there. It was cool. But anyway, so on the radio, I came home that night, started doing my radio monitoring, and I heard a mention of the people. Did anybody see the thing on the freeway, man, tonight? Wow, why aren't they talking about it? I didn't hear it on the news. I heard something like that. I was like, wow, that's weird. So I tried to turn on the radio, the TV, and I thought that surely there's got to be there's got to be some with footage of it for sure, and then somebody in their car on the 405. Nobody had cell phones back then, of course, but tons of people had little Super 8 cameras and 35 millimeter cameras that had extended exposure and all kinds of weird stuff. So somebody would have gotten something that would have been newsworthy tonight, dun 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 dun, over the busy 405 freeway in Los Angeles, California, dun 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 dun, contact, dun dun dun, whatever. I don't know. I'm just imagining the news production. But it would have been major. It should have been huge. And there was no mention of it. So that was also strange. So there you go. Alien encounter. First-hand story. I never talk about it. I never have. But I saw it. And that's strange. I still don't know what it was. And I don't think I ever will. I think my best theory is that it's ours. Some kind of experimental, crazy. They figured out a magnet, that would oppose, that they could electronically modulate the force of the magnet in relation to the Earth? Could that be how? I don't know. Maybe they did the magnet in relation to something else. That's so they found an interesting heavy magnet force. It's not the Earth, but then you're so close to the Earth that would just overwhelm. I don't know. The sun. So maybe they could do it in relation to the sun. I mean, if there are alien star crafts, flying in the galaxy, they would maybe know how to navigate around stars and use the stars' force somehow to energize, propel themselves, move. I don't know, move against or with, or Imagine if you have an electronically controlled magnetic thing, and you're wanting to head towards a star, and you just turn off the opposing magnet and just let it rip. Just let's go. We're starting our free fall into the orbit towards the sun. Doesn't seem very controlling, but could be very nice in a way. It's just free. Just okay. Just let it happen. Then and we're approaching the approach vector now. As the approach vector, okay, let's re-engage the magnet, and now you're using oppositional force. You're closer to the sun, and you're doing some things, maybe letting off a couple little key blasts, and now you're in orbit, or whatever it is you're trying to do, or you're in a transfixed orbit or a specific spot so you can drain magma or something. I mean, who knows, But sure, these things exist. Just I don't think they've been here yet any time in my span. Or maybe the ancient alien thing, the Anunnaki, all that junk. I don't know. I haven't seen evidence of it, so I can't really say if that's true or not. But then they keep finding crazy, fossil of different kinds of creatures, earth creatures, giant, fish. Even in like the inland sea on the American continent. My grandfather and I were out farming, on his land in Lubbock, on the South Plains, Lubbock, Texas. And we would find fish fossils and stuff in the dirt. So of course there was an inland sea that went all the way up over the plains and everything, and what kind of creatures were in that, man? And they could go down to the Gulf of Mexico, and then who knows what the geography was like at the time, and maybe connect out to Atlantic, whatever. So, and they were huge. They had these, I don't know, they were like pterodactyls or something. I forget what they called them. They weren't pterodactyls, but they were some kind of strange fish, that just was huge. It had these like huge teeth. Amazing. All right. Well, have a good one and just keep pondering these things. I wish I had a better way to wrap this up. All right. Let's have a